George Santos violated not only the rules of the House, but every moral standard that this House has ever had, and that the integrity and the reputation of this House are being denigrated every single day that George Santos is here.
By a vote of 311 to 114, the U.S. House of Representatives has expelled 35-year-old George Santos from Congress. The grifter-turned-lawmaker faces a variety of federal charges, including fraud, money laundering, and theft. Now, despite overwhelming evidence of felonious wrongdoing, new House Speaker Mike Johnson and Houston area Congressman Troy Nehls were among Republicans voting against removal from office.
Kicking out Mr. Santos is setting a very dangerous precedent. Never before has Congress expelled a member based on indictments.
Panel, I'd say we are pretty familiar with that argument here in the Lone Star State, given the recent Paxton impeachment. That said, the vote here was pretty overwhelming, with more than 100 Republicans bucking House leadership on this. Paul Castro, what do you make of this?
I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to George Santos. Not everyone can be an astronaut, but anybody can be a House of Representatives. He's lowered the bar so far. And if he weren't so dumb, I think he probably would have gotten away with it. But the audaciousness of what he did, the fact that he had held on to credit card numbers and was rebilling people for things and then spending it on pornographic sites. I mean, just it's Botox, and it's unbelievable, but at the same time, it helps, I think, everyone feel a little bit better about themselves.
All right, let's go to the argument made by some of the Republicans. You know, clearly they have a razor-thin advantage in the House, but this whole, there's not enough here yet to kick him out, Bill.
Well, you know, you should have said pathological grifter, which is what he really is. It's unbelievable. And look, he needed to go for sure. But I do understand the argument that you haven't kicked anybody out based on indictment. And when you go over to the Senate and look at Mendez, frankly accused of much more serious conduct relating directly to national security, and he's still on the Intelligence Committee, and he's still receiving briefings, and not even talked about kicking him out. So I do understand the argument. It's a double standard. I do understand the argument that, you know, should we kick people out based on just indictments and not actual convictions. But this conduct was so egregious. I think everybody just kind of went, sorry,
go ahead,
buddy. Yeah.
Listen, the fact that this guy said, yes, I know I told you I was Jewish, I meant I was Jewish-like. And then the Republican guy, Jewish, yes. And then the Republican guy who said he had divorced himself from reality. It is very difficult. I don't care what your margin is. You don't want Boo Boo the Fool to be your excuse for having a better margin. He needed to go. This guy doesn't care about anything. He was engaged to a woman and pretended to be one. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's too confusing. So no, he needed to go.
All right, Holly, you know,
The gift that keeps on giving to the Democrats. Yeah.
Holly, you were troubled by the lack of due process in the Texas House.
Yes.
Is this equivalent?
Yeah, I think there are some similarities. Now, Santos is in a category all of his own. I mean, you just can't even make this stuff up. It's crazy. But it is interesting to see John Fetterman of Pennsylvania come out and be kind of a voice of reason on this and say, okay, what are we doing about Mendez, who was convicted, not just indicted, and there are other sitting members of Congress and sitting members of other legislative bodies who have some very serious ethical problems, criminal problems, etc. And you know, let's raise the standard.
All right, final 25 seconds to you.
Yeah, I think that there is a double standard. Mendez is going to be left alone till if and when he is convicted. He hadn't been convicted yet, just charged. He was previously convicted and he was acquitted. Santos is a total and complete fraud. Absolutely, he was an embarrassment. But changing the standard means it's a new standard. So I think everybody needs to understand that when a Democratic House member acts that way and is lying and making stuff up and commits fraud, then they need to go too. You can't have this one way for Republicans and one way for Democrats.
Hear, hear.